What's going on, everybody? It's Dr. Chris Featherstone here for yet another episode of Unscripted. It's Tuesday night. You know what that means. Have some of the biggest, the baddest, the best wrestlers of today and yesteryear, and this night is no different. This person, I call this person, had one of the biggest potentials in the 2010, 2011 scene. It's like he was being built so well that he could have been a champion of some sort. Like he was just like, still is, man. He's like a man of the year, like just the most handsome man of the year. I think he probably if I would have voted for him like 6 or 7 years in a row. And this person back in 2010, 2011, he was just, he just had a ball of potential, man. He just had the look. He had the athleticism. He was pitted in an interesting angle. It actually worked from what he was. He was more like a protege. My hope as a fan at that time is that it was going to be used as a launch pad to put him in a really more prominent spot. Fortunately, it didn't work out that well. He ended up being a really good commentator, too. I really enjoyed his time as a commentator, too. So he's been away from the wrestling scene for about 5 years now, actually a little bit over 5 years. And but you know what? He's back tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Without further ado, he's formerly known as Alex Riley. He is Kiley Jr. How are you tonight, my man?
I'm wonderful, sir, and thank you, Chris, for that's very flattering for you to say all that. And I say half of it is true, right? Half of it is very true. The handsome part for sure. No,
absolutely.
God bless you for God bless you for having me on. And I've seen your show, and you're wonderful. You're wonderful.
You.
I consider it a big privilege and an honor to be able to speak, sir. So thank you very much.
Fantastic, man. It's a pleasure to have you. Absolutely. Yeah. Before we get to the questions, man, what are you up to nowadays, and anything you want to plug?
Yeah. So I kind of wanted to I wanted to speak about some things that are kind of dear to my heart that I believe should be addressed. And right now, I'm working on a CBD company. Right, I really believe in the power of that medicine. Right, I believe it's a medicine. And I really believe in it. It's helped me a lot. I was diagnosed with something called keratoconus. Okay. I don't know how many people are familiar with keratoconus, but It's a very, very bad eye condition. Okay, where you can't, your eyes get so bad that you can't really wear glasses, so you're stuck either in contact lenses, and when you take them out, you're pretty much blind, right? So it's your contacts, and there's really no in between where you get to put glasses on. And I happened to, I was fortunate enough to go to a brilliant doctor in Beverly Hills by the name of, I hope he doesn't mind if I mention his name. It was very positive. I was begging for eye surgery, and he said, "You really don't want that, Kevin." But I was big, my eyes had gotten so bad that I was really, really kind of begging him for it, and he hesitated, thank God. And CBD had, at that time, I believe I had just moved to Los Angeles, so about 4 years ago, it was kind of a new thing. And he said, "You can try these CBD eye drops." And I don't know if at the time I needed a prescription. However, I got them out of his office, and they were eye drops, and it comes in many different forms, right? Which, I'm not, let me say this. You don't have to smoke it, right? That's one of my main messages. You don't have to, I know smoking has a bad stigma, rightfully so, right? For some, if they, it's whatever, choose what you choose. But I really believe in it. I really believe in that the cannabis root, the root of that plant being able to heal, to truly heal people. And it's been a blessing that he gave it to me, because my eyesight has slowly improved. Yeah, and it's really helped out a lot of other spaces in my life, and just kind of I'm a really, really big proponent in it. So right now my main focus is getting a CBD company off of the ground, with a really positive message behind it of the true healing power of it, So that's really that's really the only thing I'm doing right now. I'm dabbling in a tiny bit of music. I know that may sound strange, right, for a lot of people, and I know probably just even say that takes some courage, right? But I like it. You know what I mean? I like writing. I like expressing myself. I spent some time in New Jersey, and I met some really good people that were in a really good man that was in music up there. He was really helping me explain to me where words fit in a beat, how when the song starts. It's very much it's a science, and it's built very similarly to a wrestling match, right? It's all entertainment, and it's all storytelling, right? And I found wrestling to be highly challenging in the way that, you're a character, and the main, it's very real too, can be very real, right? That's the blessing of wrestling, is, sometimes you don't know how real it is out there. And trust me when I tell you, it can get very real, right? Especially if you're in there with, so I'll leave it
That
there.
sounds like a book title, The Blessing of Wrestling.
Yeah, the blessing of wrestling, absolutely. And I feel, and I truly feel very fortunate. I learned, you don't know while you're going through it, right, how much you're learning, right, about arts and entertainment, and and performing, and it's a genius platform. It really is. If anybody that's close to that, they know how hard it is. They know how much cognitive awareness it takes in front of 20,000, 15,000, 80,000 people at a time. You know what I mean? To manage all that energy, to read people's face, to all of it. You know what I mean? I don't want to give too much of it away, right? But you have to be highly cognitive. You have to think on your feet, and I learned a lot from that business. I spent 10 years in that business, and it's still in a way inside me, right? A lot of what I learned about, being a character, projecting a message, being positive, right? What I want now is I want everything I say and everything I express to be for a positive future. You know what I mean? Especially now where we all are. Okay. We have a COVID, and I know people want to talk about wrestling, right? And I will talk about wrestling, but I want to stay as positive as I can when speaking of some real things that are going on, right, in the world with COVID. All right. And this is a horrible, horrible tragedy. What all of this is. It was incomprehensibly bad. And we all felt it. But we have got to now come together and figure this thing out. Right? We have to find a way to heal. You know, we have to find a way to forget about where it may or may not have come from and let it go. You know, I want to say this. I think it's very important that I say this. We're in a time that space, it's my belief, right? I'll preface it with this is my belief. Space between us creates space for dis-ease. Okay, and I know it's in the time that we're living in right now. It's not the easiest to understand, but we've got to now, you know, and I don't want to be cliche, right? But we really do. We've got to get back to just loving and appreciating each other and respect, right? Horrible what happened. We have to respect the people we lost. You know, we respect that, and you know, we understand that it hurt. But we have to move. We have to find. I really believe the entire world is looking at us to heal, right? Figure this out and heal. And I want to use this time to say that I'm here to help this in any way that I can. My expression is only to help this, to help us get through this. If that's okay to say, you know, I mean,
Sure.
I wanted to talk about some real things. Yeah. I also would like to get into social media, right? Before we leave, I'll save that for the end, because I think that's really important that we all as a collective discuss social media. I'm not the biggest fan of it, right? I've deleted a lot of what I have. I've left my Instagram, so I have some reach. Okay. But I don't believe it's like a runaway train, right? It started out really good, right? The idea of it was a genius invention, right? And I don't believe, and I don't blame anybody that invented it. I think they're genius human beings. I mean, it's a genius invention, right? But it's distorting reality. Okay, it's distorting reality in a way that, you know, if I have very close friends of mine that I grew up with. If they're more concerned about how many people are liking my photos that I've posted an hour before or 5 hours before I get to the bar, than the person standing in front of their face that they have known their whole life, that sees them at the bar, it's not a good equation. You know what I mean? I think, and I don't want to get, you know, too deep, but I believe I'm on the right track here for a very good message and something that's very real. You know what I mean? I think we all need to take a deeper look at social media. I don't, you know, I would a preteen, a teen, right, that has access to social media, I think it's a disaster. I do. I don't think it should be a part of their lives, right? I think a young girl that goes to school and is posting photos, right, and is worried more about the likes that she's getting on a photo than face-to-face interaction. I just think I don't think that's a really good thing, you know. And I think there's a lot of other people that believe that, you know, that's not the most healthy way to, you know, express or to be relatable, right? So I just want to get that out.
I've done a bunch of research on that. Interestingly enough, I actually have a video on it, a YouTube video on it. If you don't know, I'm a psychology doctor, so
I read
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
So yeah, balance
Probably
is
the
key.
perfect person to talk to about this. So that's
Yeah,
good. It's
lots
a
of
blessing. Yeah.
I've done yeah, it's about balance, and there's some highs and lows. With when it
Right.
comes to social media, the lows can be there's a hyper sense of affirmation, which can cause some
Sure.
cognitive distortion. The
Right.
positives of it is there can be like when people are like in support groups and stuff like that, and like when people are more in group settings and things like
Sure.
that for support, that can be a good thing. So there's highs and lows to it.
Okay.
Ready to dive into these questions, man?
Yeah. Let's do it. Let's do it.
All right. Here we go. Guillermo's asking, how was working with the Miz?
it was it was wonderful. Working with Mike was amazing. He's very talented, and they put me in they put me in WWE in a very prominent spot early, right? Because as you said, I had some talent, right? And Vince McMahon certainly liked me. So once again, honored by that. But it was an amazing period of my life. I got to do WrestleMania. I was in the ring with the best in the world, right? WWE, some of the best entertainers in the world, if not the best, right? You can say that. You can say that in all reality. Rock, John Cena, Stone Cold. And the WWE, Vince McMahon, they had confidence enough to give me a microphone, right, on live television on USA Network. Okay, that's big for me. It showed, it showed they believed in me, showed that I had the ability to carry, the show at times. At times, they gave me a lot of speaking roles early, which I think I earned, right, which was very good. So working with Mike was an amazing thrill, and I traveled with him everywhere, and he was a great human being, and he's doing even better now, or has always had a wonderful career in entertainment. I think he's well deserving of all of it. I miss him. He's a good guy. He's a good guy. I might reach out to him after this. I don't know, but he's a really good guy. I'm happy for him. Yeah.
Yeah, sure. How did you get the role for the show Glow? Still Horse, right?
Yeah, so that came to me after I was at WWE, and I nothing bad, right? Nothing bad, all love when I left, but we kind of had decided, well, I'm gonna go try some other things. And it was great, cool, very very easy. But when I was outside of my WWE contract, I had gotten some interest in a manager in Hollywood. I thought I could transition into film and TV pretty easily, which I was very flattered by, right? Because I didn't, just being honest, I wasn't The Rock, right? And I wasn't Cena, and I wasn't Stone Cold. I was Alex Riley, and I was a commentator at the end of my career. For this man to believe in me in that way was very flattering. So outside of the WWE contract, he submitted me for that role, and I beat all the guys out and got the role, right? Because there was about 15 guys at the WWE submitted, and I was outside the contract, and I got the role. So yeah, I don't know. No, again, all love, but yeah, I was very proud of myself for that. That Netflix had the confidence in me to choose me from all of the people that were submitted, right? And there were other professional actors in there as well. They looked at a lot of people for that role. It was a big role and a big show, and the show did very well. So again, God and all that stuff. It all kind of worked out for me. So I'm once again humbled, right, and blessed by it.
Yeah,
for sure. Yeah.
You barely touched on the WWE departure. Not a lot of people know any details. Would you mind sharing any details if you can about
yeah? So
your
there was
WWE departure?
Yeah. So there was no ill will, right, between myself and WWE management. I really want to clear that up. There was can't get away from this. There was one person, and he knows who he is. Everybody, we just kind of just had some friction, right? That's it. That's all it was. And I'm going to say this too. I spent my whole life playing football. Okay, I was an outside linebacker for Boston College. All right, so 4 years I was in a male locker room with 100 men, right? 100 men running into each other, full speed, day in, day out. real contact. I mean, same, right? Same thing. People have issues sometimes. That's what makes it great, right? Is you get a bunch of men that are fighting over either attention, playing time, other things at times, right? And we're all trying to be the best that we can be, right? And we all believe in ourselves. You don't go to WWE unless you believe in really truly believe in yourself. You're standing in the ring by yourself at, most times with maybe one other person. When you're playing football, I went there as a quarterback to Boston College. You're in your own space there, and when there's 100,000 people, and you either got to throw a pass, make a tackle, you got to believe in yourself. So it's hard. You can't take that from me, right? You're not going to take my belief in myself. Like, that's something you're never going to do, and I don't care who you are, right? And not to say that person was trying, but it was just a situation. We just had some friction. You know what I mean? And it's not something that I don't think, I'll leave it there, right? Okay. But but the WWE, the management, they were good to me. Okay, they were good to me. They were understanding of my talent. They believed in me. They helped find a spot for me that I could, that I could express myself, that I could use my talent. My father, I'm very proud of his life and his career. He was a broadcaster for the Olympics, the NBA, boxing, the NFL. I mean, he made his living in the public eye and in sports. And they saw some of that in me, my ability to speak and my ability to project and do a good job. So that's where I ended up. And there's no ill will there, right? I still feel very fortunate for that position. And when I went to Hollywood, my manager didn't care so much. I had a tape, right, that I put together, and thank you WWE, put together a little resume, right? That's how in entertainment you put a resume together is your stuff on TV. So, he was more interested in the things that I did on the WWE pre-show. I threw the pens at the thing. I remember Booker T and I did some major league skit. And I was able to show my personality there. And that's when my manager came to me, he really wasn't concerned with the ring, right? But he saw a lot of potential and a lot of light, right? Or a lot of, talent in some of the things that I did on the pre-show. So once again, God's plan, right? Yeah, stay humble. And I kind of just, I follow when I'm blessed, I follow it. You know what I mean? I consider it a blessing. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Quick question before we get into a 5-minute lightning round of these questions. If AEW gave you a call today, hey, Kevin, we want you to be a commentator for the Rampage show, would you accept it?
Absolutely. With all respect, absolutely not. No.
Absolutely not.
With all respect, okay, with all respect to everybody in that business, I would not accept that because I'm on a different path right now, and I want to remain on that path. I want to focus on my CBD company, my family. Okay, I want to focus on my family. My family is very important to me, always has been. So politely, I would decline that. But not to say that I won't end up somewhere in the wrestling business in the future. I don't know. I'm 40 years old. I still consider myself a very young man, even though it's maybe not as young, right? But certainly able to come back if I need to or if they want me there. But I'm WWE through and through, right? That's probably that's where I need to go with that. And I've said that before. I'm a Vince guy, right? I'm a Vince guy, and I stay loyal. So if I ever return. If and when I ever return, I will stay loyal to the man that built me. And that's nothing against Dusty Rhodes, right? Created me inside out, baby, right? Genius. Yeah, he pulled me aside, put his arm around me and said, "Come on, Kev, it's time to sit under the learning tree." You know what I mean? And had me and what a beautiful man. And I love Cody, right? And I love that family, but you know, I stay true to my word always, and I'm a WWE loyal
Loyalist.
character,
Yeah.
loyal, whatever it is, you know,
Yeah.
loyal
Yeah.
talent. So yeah.
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 Speaking of loyal, WWE calls you, Kevin. We want you to be an NXT trainer starting tomorrow.
These are good questions. Good for you. Good
Thank you.
questions. I would once
I'm
again.
a psychology doctor, David. I dig in people's minds every day. Come on,
I
Kevin.
love it. This is good. God bless you. I would once again politely decline.
Okay.
I love. It's a good question. I love sports entertainment. I do, and this is what I feel very, very fortunate in, that when I had to step away from football because I suffered a very, very bad injury at the end of my career at Boston College, and I had to step away, right? And everybody gonna hate me in the business for saying this, telling the truth, right? But I didn't wrestle before. Okay, when I was hired, I was green, right? They call it completely green. And I feel like for them to do that, I must have had some talent. One, and two, they took a shot on me to they invested in me with no experience to build me, right? And I never thought I was going to find anything that fit me better than playing outside linebacker, right? Never. I loved it. My dad played in the a little bit, right? A little bit. Tried to play in the NFL, and had been around football his whole life, and it was in my blood since I can even remember. So when I had to give it up, I was heartbroken, right? And there was an empty space inside me, and WWE more than filled that space. I mean, when I put a mic in my hand with that Letterman jacket on, I mean, I felt like myself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I felt like I can say what I want to say. I can be who I want to be. Nobody's going to judge me for the comments that I make. And we're all going to do it to each other, and we're going to go have a laugh, or, sometimes have a laugh, sometimes be upset, whatever it is. But it was such a cool, it's very magical being a character in the WWE. And once again, it more than filled the space for me when I lost the game of football. And for that, I'm forever grateful to them for helping me with that transition, because I had a job selling medical equipment, which I loved, but it just wasn't me. I needed the adrenaline, and I like contact sports. I like that. I loved making tackles in football. I loved running into people, right? It made me feel good, right? Hitting people, not, on the football field. I don't hit people off the football field, right? Or anywhere. But on the football field, in sports entertainment, it's good feeling, right? It's good. It's a good exercise, makes you feel alive, and I loved it. So yeah.
Awesome.
Sorry if I was off track there.
Oh, no worries. All right, we got a lightning round here. Start with Elvis. What was your favorite part of being in the ring? Before you answer that question, I always thought your theme song was pretty cool.
It
Say
was.
it to my face.
So that song was like a huge gift, right? Because it's all energy. You know what I mean? You're a performer, and any good performer knows that's energy, right?
Yeah.
You're manipulating and moving and trying to change energy and project energy, right? And move a crowd. So, and that song did, right? It did.
Yeah, definitely.
It created some energy. So to come out behind it and do my jump and throw the powder, it was a lot of fun, fun. And larger than life, right? That's very real. That's what they do. So
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I blushed real quick. Can you talk about what the Miz had to say about your backstage issues with Cena?
So I have no knowledge of what he has said or not said.
Okay.
If you guys want to make me aware. So I don't really, like, I do my thing and I don't really Google my name because I don't bother with it. You know what I mean? Plus I'm Kevin Kiley Jr. now, so it really doesn't matter. But I have no knowledge of what he said. If you guys want to tell me, give me a hint, I can comment, or I can just keep going.
Yeah, I don't know.
Up to you. Yeah, okay.
I don't know either.
I'm sure it wasn't. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I didn't.
It's probably something to defense of you. It was probably to defend you. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. Who was one wrestler you never got? Okay, we'll get back to that. Who was one wrestler you never got the chance to be in the ring with that you wanted to?
I believe the Undertaker. All
okay.
Right. So I always liked the Undertaker a lot. And why? Because when I was on NXT, that was how do I say this? They just gave me a mic. And they said, just go, you got an hour or whatever, or just whatever you want, whatever you want to do. Because we were all out there pretty much together for an hour, and we didn't really kind of at the time know what was going on. Right. Yeah. So I was able to really express myself, you know what I mean? Off the top of my head. Yeah. So I love that. I really enjoy that part of it. I consider myself a very quick thinker under pressure, right? So that I really enjoyed, and I remember him coming up to me out of nowhere, right? And I was, and you walk around, and again, anybody that's ever been backstage at a WWE show, it's powerful, right? This is a real, very talented entertainers, very large people, larger than life, right? And I was very new to it. And he came up to me, and I was the Undertaker. He came up to me and goes, "You have a gift here. You're very good." Right? He said that to me, and I'll never forget it. And I really appreciated that for him to say, for a man like that to say that to me very early in his career. He didn't know me as a person, and I didn't know him as a person, but he clearly had been watching, and he clearly, had taken some sort of interest in what I was doing. So I always kind of wanted to have the opportunity to get in the ring with him, and I didn't, and it's okay. But certainly the Undertaker, I always thought he was the right guy. Yeah, for sure.
It's a good choice. Yeah.
Yeah.
What was the backstage reaction to CM Punk's pipe bomb promo in 2011?
It was good, right? I mean, it was real. I think what happens too is you get to the point where you believe, right? You believe in something, right? Very strongly. Something that you're not going to let go, right? For anybody. And when you hit a groove, let's call it like a groove, like that, right? Like CM Punk had hit a space in his mind that he wasn't going to let go of, right? And that makes for let's call it real, right? Let's go real. It's all real, right? But a powerful message. Okay, he had hit a space in his mind as a performer where he had real beliefs in what he was trying to do, for the business. Now, whether they're right or wrong, we all get to discuss it in front of the world, right? That's what makes WWE so genius, is that, somebody, a guy like CM Punk, a guy like, John, guy like Rock, guy like Kevin Kiley Jr., you hope, I would think, if I'm Vince McMahon, I would think, I don't know, no, like, let me say genius, right? Vince McMahon is a genius, right? So I'm not trying to, but you would hope that a performer hits a space in his mind where, right, he believes, and then once that guy gets there, you put a mic in his hand and you put him out there, and then the world gets to figure out how much do you really believe? What if this guy says this? So So for me, I think it was very, very powerful, very real, and I respected what he was doing, and I think a lot of the other performers respected what he was doing. How could you not, right?
Yeah.
And again, once again, that's what makes Mr. McMahon, right? Mr. McMahon and everybody in WWE management so smart and so adaptive as they just know, and they move around it, and they discuss it, and they discuss it in front of the world. So all respect, right? I thought it was good entertainment. I thought it was good reality entertainment, whatever, yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Christopher is asking, did you ever play against Ohio State? We know a guy who loves the Buckeyes.
It was
me, Dr. Featherstone. Big Buckeyes fan. Yeah.
No, sir. I did not play against Ohio State. I played against Miami, Notre Dame, Syracuse, Rutgers, Florida State, a lot of Big East. Big East ACC. We moved ACC towards the end of my career. So I remember playing Miami. That was
we beat Miami to win the national championship. Yeah.
No, it's a thrill. I ran under some kickoffs. I made some tackles, and lightning speed out there. You know what I mean? You move your head one in the wrong direction, you're so it's a thrill. It was good. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. Good stuff, man.
Yes,
we're gonna to respect your time, man. We're gonna cut it off there. Let the listeners know where to find you on social media, man. Hey, give the Miz a call and let me know how that went.
I will. You can. All right. So I've deleted everything online or social media wise. All I have is Instagram, and I believe it's at Kiley Jr. WWE. And the reason I haven't taken the WWE out, for I've got a lot of these questions, I don't know how, and Instagram doesn't have a phone number. So anybody in Instagram got a phone number, right? If you're running a business, I know it's tough, but Kevin Kiley Jr. would love to talk to somebody on Instagram, because I think I got a nice voice, and I really want to help out. I want to help change social media a bit. I think there's some space there in the way we communicate that with each other that could be done. No hate, no negativity, but I think we could do it just a little bit better. That's all.
Indeed.
Yeah. So at Kiley Jr. WWE. Yes, sir.
Cool. Well, I just Googled IG's number, and I just texted it to you right now. Actually.
Oh, did you? All right. Is it up there? Okay, good. Yep. All right. Well, thank you. I see it come up right on. How about that for technology?
Yep.
Moves fast these days.
Indeed. Kevin, it's been a pleasure, man. It's been a fun discussion, man.
Yeah.
My pleasure, man. Thank you for coming on the show tonight.
Yeah, God bless you. Let's do it again sometime.
Sounds good. Have a good night.
Take care, sir.